Hoje estamos aqui onde? Na Kingston, na HyperX, aqui em Fulton Valley, nos Estados Unidos. Estou hoje com a Carolina.
Oi, tudo bom? Eu sou a Carolina Maldonado, vice-presidente para a América Latina de Kingston e HyperX.
HyperX é uma marca assim, relativamente nova no mercado, mas ela já se posicionou de uma maneira como acaba sendo top of mind de muita gente quando a gente fala de gaming e esportes principalmente, né? E eu queria que você contasse um pouquinho como foi essa trajetória.
Obviamente, muita estratégia por detrás disso. Aliás, a corporação exigiu das regiões que a gente investisse muito online, que a gente patrocinasse equipes de gaming, que a gente estivesse muito presente desde o começo para que esse jogador, para que essa comunidade reconhecesse a gente como parte importante, né? Como uma marca muito interessada no que eles têm a dizer, no que eles precisam, tentando dar soluções para eles. Nós nos enfocamos em ter uma grande presença nos eventos no Brasil. Tá? A gente está na BGS já há alguns anos, sempre com um stand bem legal, sempre tentando trazer novidades. Nós nos envolvemos muito com os gamers, né? Com as equipes. Hoje nós temos 4 equipes, então tem o pessoal da CNB, o pessoal da Kabum, a Alitec e a gente apoia também o pessoal da Inova.
Qual que é a grande dificuldade de fazer com que tudo isso virasse realidade no Brasil, sendo que a gente sabe das inúmeras barreiras que às vezes são impostas, às vezes é questão de quando importação é muito mais complicada que talvez a gente encontre em outros países, assim, chegar num preço que seja acessível, mas que entregue um produto de qualidade. Qual que é o grande desafio de fazer com que isso acontecesse?
Olha, no caso do Brasil particularmente, a gente tem uma situação bastante difícil sempre de importação, né? Então você tem a variável da importação, da demora, né? Não é uma logística fácil ou rápida. Nós temos a flutuação do dólar, que vai mudando o preço do produto, dependendo da data que o pessoal importou. Então, a gente tenta ser bastante cuidadoso e trabalhar muito junto com os nossos parceiros de negócios no Brasil, para que o preço do produto sempre esteja certo, para que não haja confusão. E, obviamente, as coisas acontecem, né? Se, de repente, a alfândega entra em strike...
Como acontece várias vezes? Né?
Acontece bastante, aconteceu bem agora, perto do Black Friday.
Qual que é esse público-alvo que vocês procuram atingir com esse tipo de produto que vocês fazem?
Bom, o nosso primeiro lançamento, que foi o headset Cloud, ele é um headset mid-range, tá? A gente queria a proposta do produto conforto, qualidade e durabilidade. Então, a gente queria realmente poder alcançar uma parte maior do público lançando um produto mid-range. Depois nós fomos agregando produtos, né? O Revolver, que é o mais o high-end, e o Stinger agora, que é mais acessível para o cara que está aí, né? Tentando ter um equipamento mais legal, um equipamento de qualidade.
Recentemente, você que está acompanhando tudo que a gente está fazendo aqui no Adrenaline, no Adrenalina do Road, sabe que a gente começou a nossa viagem lá na CES 2017 e claro que a gente falou das novidades justamente da linha HyperX, por exemplo, o Cloud Revolver S, esse novo headset aí da linha que foi anunciado por lá. Eu estou hoje aqui com o Tyler, que vai falar um pouquinho mais sobre esse modelo que vem com algumas diferenças em relação ao Revolver que a gente já conhecia. Tyler, first of all, it's an amazing pleasure to be here with you.
Same
More
to you.
time. Yeah.
Thank you for visiting.
To talk about a new product, of course. Revolver S is a little different if in comparison with the Revolver, right?
Yes.
Could you tell us a little more about these differences?
Sure, yeah. So the original goal for the Cloud Revolver headset was to be focused on mainly first-person shooter games. So we sponsor some of the best gaming teams around the world that play CSGO and Call of Duty and games like that. You know, Luminosity, SK Gaming, Navi, Cloud9, just to mention a few. And what they were really talking about, we'd bring them in, they'd play in this gaming area, and they'd tell us about the audio experience they're having. And what they said was, it'd be really cool if you could develop a headset that enabled us to hear things sooner than the competitors' headsets are currently doing right now. So what we did is we actually tuned the drivers to widen the sound stage. And what that means is you're able to actually identify people, footsteps, gunshots sooner and more accurately with this headset than any of our other headsets or any of our competitor headsets, which gives the players an advantage in game to play the game better and win more money and win more tournaments.
Even more than just the sound, you guys improve the progress and all these items, right? The band and everything. Mm-hmm. Could you show us the difference between the clown and
Yeah. So on the right, in my right hand here, I've got the Revolver Stereo, which launched in May of 2016. And on the left hand, I've got the Revolver S, which is going to be launching in March of 2017. So originally, these two products were planned to launch together, but we were tuning the Revolver S dongle with the Dolby 7.1 surround sound, and we saw some areas for improvement and decided that we'd rather hold back the product and make something we were really proud of and that our fans would really love rather than rushing and getting it to market. So while we did that, what we were actually doing, we launched the stereo version and we really read a lot of the reviews online, on Reddit, on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube about what people loved about stereo and what they thought could be better. So we actually made a few aesthetic improvements to the product. You can see obviously it's black and white ear cups rather than black and red. We also used a matted finish and we rubberized the outside of the ear cups to give a more premium feel so that when you're spending the extra money on Revolver S, you know you're getting something that is of higher quality. We also added a dampener here on the headband, which reduces noise reverberation. And we also widened the headband 10 millimeters. So what that does is it releases some of the pressure on the top of the head and makes the headset more comfortable for long hours of gaming. The biggest difference, though, is the 7.1 dongle. So what we've done here is we actually worked really closely with Dolby, who's a really high-end sound technology company that focuses on theatrical experiences while you're gaming. So when you turn this 7.1 on, you've got a whole new surround sound environment of sound around you, which enables you to hear things sooner, identify where they're coming from. So if someone shoots at you, you know they're behind you or to the side of you, or for grenades coming over. But it also sounds great for just if you're listening to music or listening to movies as well. Of course, you've got your microphone mute, headset volume, microphone volume. But the biggest thing actually about this dongle that makes it so cool is that it's all hardware enabled. So if you look at any of our competitors that are using Dolby 7.1 in their headsets, it's all done through software. So you have to download the software, you have to hope it works with your system, maybe there's a compatibility issue, maybe there's an update, and you can't take it with you. So if you're not bringing your PC with you, you can't take that software with you. So if you're going to your friend's house to play games, you're going to a LAN event or DreamHack or something like that, you don't have that ability to do that. So with ours being all hardware enabled, your Dolby 7.1 comes with you wherever you are. So that gives you a really nice convenience factor. Also, since it doesn't require software, you don't have to exit game to toggle it on and off. Right now, with any software solution, you have to do that. Also works with PS4. So we're the
Which platforms do you support it?
For Dolby, it works with PC and PS4. It works in stereo mode with tablets, mobile, Xbox, PS4, anything that takes a 3.5 millimeter jack. But the Dolby 7.1 just works on the PS4 and the PC.
Thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
Assim como a gente viu na CES 2017, a HyperX também anunciou um novo teclado, né? Já é o segundo aí da família, e também o mouse. Marcus, the first question is about these new alloy FPS that you guys have here. Which kind of new things that you guys brought to the keyboard?
So we launched the HyperX Alloy FPS with blue switches October last year, and now we added 2 more versions to the lineup. So now it's also available in brown and red.
What's the difference between the lines?
The 3 different switches, they behave different. So blue is known to be very clicky. It's very to the point where it's a bit loud, and but it's very tactile, meaning you can really feel when you press it. Brown is somewhere in the middle, and red is a linear switch that is not very noisy. It feels softer. You have to press less hard when you press it.
Could you explain us a little more these features?
Yes, sure. So the Alloy FPS, as the name says, is focused on FPS games. So best examples are Counter-Strike Go, and of course Overwatch, which has become very popular. The main features are it's very minimalistic in design, meaning it only takes up the space it absolutely needs, because the way FPS games are played is on low DPI for the mouse, so you need as much space as possible for your mouse, and the less space the keyboard takes up, the better. So hence the very compact design. At the same time, the name is alloy, so we gave it a metal top plate. That makes it heavy. A, that's good build quality, it's very sturdy. B, because it's heavy, it keeps the keyboard in place. What you don't want when you play is that the keyboard moves around, right? The focus needs to be on the game, not on the keyboard. A lot of gamers, especially the younger ones, are mobile, so they take it to tournaments, they take it to friends. So that's why we gave it a detachable cord, added a pouch, so you have a safe way of transporting the product to your friend or wherever you need to go.
We have this new guy to complete the line, that is the mouse. Can you explain a little more about this first project in terms of mouse that you guys announced at CS?
Correct, yeah. It's the HyperX Pulsefire FPS, our first mouse. As the name says, it's also focused on FPS. So what does that mean? There are two main features. One is the weight. It comes in at 95 grams, which for a mouse is relatively light. The reason why that is important is if you just play an hour a day, you're probably fine, but the teams we sponsor, the more serious gamers that play 4, 5, 6 hours a day, for them it makes a difference if it's 90 grams or 110, excuse me, or 120 grams. So weight is important. The second thing that is important is, I mentioned earlier, a lot of gamers play on low DPI. Okay. The most popular DPI is 800. DPI, in simple terms, means the lower your DPI, the less your cursor on the screen moves. Given we're talking FPS, aiming is very important. So it's easier to aim if your mouse doesn't move that much. That's
and you
why
have different DPIs configurations for this.
Correct,
mouse.
correct. So because most players play on 800, some play on 14 or 1600, we gave the mouse 4 DPI settings, 400, 800, 1600, 3200. It's indicated by a color LED on top of the mouse, so you know which level you are at. Typically, you would play on, let's say, 800, and the 1600 and 3200 are if you do anything else.
More than FPS, you guys this year announced this keyboard over here that it's with another focus that's just FPS. Can you explain a little more about the RPG?
Yes, of course. I mean, this is the HyperX Alloy Elite RGB. It will be released during the summer. We of course recognize that a large chunk of the mechanical keyboard market has become RGB. So this is our first keyboard that takes care of that market. There are similarities and there are differences. So the focus, of course, is that it's an RGB keyboard. So it comes with software, it comes with a user interface. So everything or anything that you want to change on the keyboard, you do through the software and through the GUI. On a firmware-based keyboard, you would do everything on the keyboard. Now, there are similarities, so you still find alloy in the name. It means you still have that metal top plate, you still have the same weight, which is important. And in terms of design, if you look at it from the side, it's just as slim as the alloy FPS is. You can see we have developed a light trench that's unique for RGB keyboards. So visually, I think it's very pleasing, but it also has more dedicated keys compared to our first keyboard. So you have a volume wheel, you have media keys, you have 3 hotkeys for the lights, for game mode, and for your profiles. So the way the profiles work is on the user interface, you can create as many profiles as you like. You can select 3 favorites, and those 3 favorites you can by pressing on that button, you can cycle through those 3 profiles. So you don't necessarily always have to go into your user interface. Just by pressing the button, you can cycle through your favorites.
Tá certo, a gente acabou de conhecer então um pouquinho agora da linha que cada vez está mais completa, né? A gente já tinha os headsets, foram anunciado o Alloy FPS agora com outras opções, com novas opções também para o mercado. Temos o RGB Elite agora com o foco saindo um pouquinho do FPS e o mouse chega para completar a família. Novidades aí da HyperX que foram anunciadas na CES e a gente conferiu um pouquinho mais agora.